Hello, everyone. This is Marvelous Mike, and welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Maniac podcast. And this week in pro wrestling, and I hope everyone is doing well, and that you all are enjoying your summer. Well, this week had a lot of eventful news that happened in the world of pro wrestling, and I guess we're going to start off with the top story, which is that the WWE has announced that they have agreed to terms for the release of Bray Wyatt, officially wishing him future endeavors in the world of pro wrestling. And this comes really as no surprise, as they had kept him off of TV for months, and it seemed like they had completely lost interest in his character with the result that happened at the last WrestleMania. I am sort of saddened though by the news that the WWE, particularly Vince McMahon, has such short-sighted view of characters that even though it doesn't matter how much that they work, how much effort that they put into their characters, that if you aren't looking the Vince McMahon way, that you just aren't going to be pushed in the company. And they would rather bring back old wrestlers rather than create new superstars. Bray Wyatt was a superstar. He had tremendous success. Former Universal Champion, former WWE Champion, and was one of the most popular pro wrestlers that was on the WWE roster. Firefly Funhouse was successful. I mean, he did have some segments that wasn't too great, like the cinematic match with Randy Orton that one year in the House of Horror match, which it was interesting, to say the least. But there's a lot of moments that Bray Wyatt had, the Wyatt family, the Fiend run its course. It was one of those type of characters that you didn't want to have on the screen all the time. They sort of run into a booking nightmare with it, that you either had to book the Fiend so incredibly strong, or you had to make him disappear. And ultimately, they made him completely disappear. And now, I'm not saying we might see the Firefly Funhouse Now segment with Alexa Bliss in her character, as she has taken basically the concept of Bray Wyatt and made it her own, and in a way stolen his gimmick. And that's, it's one thing for somebody to do that from another company, but then it's another thing for somebody to do that within your own company. So we see that Bray Wyatt's gone. I mean, he's tremendously talented. He knows how the business works. He has great creativity, and after his 90 days are finished, look forward for him to being in AEW if AEW does not sign Bray Wyatt. And they're crazy because he is a tremendous talent. He's even a bigger sign than what Braun Strowman is. Tremendously talented uh, uh, performer and has a tremendous future in the pro wrestling world. Can you imagine Bray Wyatt and that character of some sort? I mean, he can reinvent himself in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and what they could do with that character. The matches that he could have with Okada would be tremendous. And so that's probably the major news of this this week is Bray Wyatt released from the WWE. Also, the rumors continue over CM Punk. CM Punk continually to have fun with the fans over his signing with AEW. It's a major, the most, probably the biggest name to come to AEW is CM Punk. I mean, even after all of these years, since 2014 is the last time he was in the WWE, to still have this following and still be relevant in pro wrestling is amazing. The matches that he can have there is great with Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, and these different people that are there, former WWE, Bryan Danielson. Of course, he signed probably with AEW, all reports is. And so that rumor is still going about, and no doubt CM Punk will make his debut for AEW at the Chicago show. As far as other news, the Monday Night Raw, I caught some of the highlights. Really didn't pay that much attention to it. It's the same old stuff. Oldberg is still trying to get his match with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is avoiding him. It's so horrible that this is taking place. That Oldberg is back just for a payday, just to lose a match. No doubt on this Monday Night Raw coming up that there'll be an official announcement of the match. We see John Cena, in a sort of comical promo type of match. He steals he steals the contract signing away from Finn Balor, and now he's officially going to be facing Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Hopefully, I mean, Cena's putting in the time. He's making the house shows. He's still a big enough name in pro wrestling, but still, yeah, it's just disappointing that we have yet another nostalgia act that comes back and tries to take away from the talent that is there, because the WWE creative has not, and meaning Vince McMahon, has not created any superstars from the current roster. We see that also there's going to be probably a terrific match. It'll probably be the match of SummerSlam, which will be Seth Rollins versus Edge. And it ought to be really, really good match. And I'll look forward to that. We see Sasha Banks comes back plays like a babyface, and at the end stabs Bianca Belair in the match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That is, like I said, I've already seen that match. Not really motivation to see that yet again. It seems like people like Carmella is just used not as a main star, and she definitely deserves her moment in the spotlight at SummerSlam. We also have injury possibly to Natalia, which is unfortunate, and it's really up in the air what's going to be happening with the Women's Tag Team Championship at this point. We don't know. Hopefully she'll be ready for SummerSlam. The Raw Women's Championship looks like it's going to be yet another triple threat between Nikki Ash and the little version of the Hurricane 2.0, and Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. So, I guess they're going to try to build that. Charlotte Flair is going to be facing Rhea Ripley for the title on this Monday Night Raw. It's just crazy, and I don't know. It's just not my sort of thing. We have also reports that we have of Braun Strowman's first appearance outside of the WWE has been reported and confirmed that he's going to be at Slamfest. I guess that's what it's called, in Qatar on September 22nd. Was a various wrestlers that has supposed to be showing up for that event in Qatar and Qatar, and so I guess they could afford Bray Wyatt to come. He has an astronomical independent booking fee, which really doesn't help, a lot of independent promotions. They can't afford that. And now I want to get into probably the other biggest story of the week, and that was probably one match that was on AEW, and I haven't really covered AEW a whole lot, and this is an example of the reason why. I tried to turn on and watch it, but I just can't. I don't know why. It just seems so goofy. And then they put trash like this on TV. It was Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage. And Nick Gage is a supposedly independent deathmatch expert. I mean, and he was fighting Chris Jericho. There was all kinds of violence. Anything you could think you'd see at a garbage backyard wrestling show, that is what you got at this match. It was atrocious that this was on major cable network television that they allowed this trash to be broadcast, this violence that doesn't belong in any major promotion. It should not be okay, because that's the last thing you want to sit down and watch a program with your children. Said, well, that's not their target audience, and people think it's great. You know, you're one step away from the gladiatorial games in ancient Rome. You know, where, and that violence, live violence, has no place anywhere except on HBO and those type of, it's rated R, and it's not TV-14, it's rated mature. You know, I did not watch it live. I don't know if there was a viewer discretion warning, which there should have been, and the guy used a pizza cutter and split Chris Jericho open. How Chris Jericho, how he has fallen is just amazing. That, and I know that he thinks it's great, but it is just horrible that he has allowed himself to decline in what he views as professionalism in the ring. This trash doesn't belong on TV. On cable network TV, yeah, maybe in the wee hours of the morning, maybe through a rating R pay window on you know, specialized channels like HBO, Showtime, these things, maybe on pay-per-view, but not on free network TV where you have sponsors. And they had a Domino's pizza commercial during this match, and Domino's said that if they engaged in this type of behavior again, they was going to pull their sponsorship. Of course, somebody else said that they would take their spot, but companies and corporations have a corporate image that they have to protect, and this is not what they want to promote. And it's not only Domino's. There will be other sponsors that start wanting to pull their sponsorship if this is the type of trash that AEW wants to put on TV. And they say, oh, you know what? No, don't make an excuse for it. It's not acceptable. It's garbage wrestling. And if you want to do that sort of trash, go to your outlaw shows and have your little fun fest there. Or have your pay-per-views on Fight TV or something like that. You know what? That is not going to build your product. You're only going to be able to reach a certain amount of people, and it is just absolutely, it isn't storytelling, it isn't pro wrestling, it's garbage. Nick Gage looks like me. And he's not in shape. He looks like he's a haggard old man. And you know, I mean, come on. I mean, you're just, he's a legend. You know what? I don't care. He's not in the same caliber as Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho, lowering himself to do this trash, is horrible. And I can only imagine what people that really love the wrestling business, like, Jim Cornette and his comments on this. And I haven't listened to his comments, but I completely probably agree with them that this is reprehensible, that this is on major cable network TV. And TNT ought to be ashamed of themselves for allowing AEW to put this trash on their broadcast. And it will not get, we may get few nostalgia, but it is not okay. It is not pro wrestling, and it should not have no place in any major promotion in pro wrestling. There's reports that WWE has, behind the scenes, tried to get more sponsors to leave AEW over this. And I don't blame Vince McMahon at all if these rumors are true, that it is a blight upon the pro wrestling business, and it does not do even though the WWE has all of their issues, they present a product that families can sit down and they can watch, that you as a parent can feel safe letting your children watch it. And you can't, as a parent, feel safe letting your children watch AEW. It's rated TVMA, and besides all of the flips that constantly happen in the match, and after watching the first match that come on AEW with the Elite coming out there looking like basketball players trying to promote Space Jam, the movie, seriously, and all the flips, all the garbage that went on in that match. It's the same old thing over and over again. And I was my thoughts when I saw this match, when I saw the highlights of this match with Chris Jericho and Nick Gage, is that I wonder what CM Punk thinks. I wonder if CM Punk is having second thoughts on signing with AEW. It's just atrocious. And you know what? I'm not going to apologize for my opinion on this. People think that it's great. People ought to be excited about it. No, they shouldn't be excited about it. They should be outraged. And it has no place on major cable network TV. The FCC should get involved and fine TNA, or TNA, I want to call them TNA, TNT, for putting this on the air on the time slot that they did. And it is just, it's bad. And that's my thoughts on that. And so that's been this week in pro wrestling. From Marvelous Mike, I know that a lot of people will probably not really agree with me on these points, and I really just don't care. This is my opinion. This is my podcast. The state of pro wrestling, in my opinion, just isn't good right now. I don't know. I don't have. I watched the highlights. There's nothing. There's a few spotlights that I want to watch. The Edge, Seth Rollins match intrigues me. Maybe I should check out New Japan Pro Wrestling and see what's going on there. It's been a while since I've really paid attention to that. But I know that this garbage wrestling, it does not appeal to me at all. And it hasn't, in no place, it's not pro wrestling. It's, you might as well just say it's the gladiatorial violent games of Rome. And, and if people have such a bloodlust wanting to see this, then it really says some bad things about our society. I want to see stories that's told in the ring. It seems right now that AEW is really oversaturated with talent, and there is just really, so much talent that they have that it's really hard to follow everybody, and it really is. And I just really not really enjoying their product. I know, well, maybe I'm the only one. I could have a promotion. Let me bring back the nostalgia era of where people actually can tell a story in the ring, and that talent has a way to be creative. And we see the whole reverse, that when talent has free reign, almost the trash that is presented in the ring, that it's just a lot of indie garbage that appeals to just a select group of people. And then we have the WWE, where everything is corporate and controlled, and the talent really don't have a opportunity to shine and showcase their talent. I think that there's a balance somewhere in the middle that a story can be told in the ring. And it's really sad that in the current wrestling product that we don't have that they continually try to appeal to a select group of fans, that they don't try to appeal to grow their fan base. And it's really sad. And as I said, I'm more involved in writing right now rather than in writing movie and screenplays, than engaged in really following pro wrestling very close. But I do this podcast because I love pro wrestling, because I want to have my opinion out there, and I hope that everybody, even if though you don't agree with me, that you respect me. I know that people may not understand where I'm coming from on a lot of my opinions, but look at the product that was in the late 90s. Look at the product that was, even in the early 2000s. It's so much better. And pro wrestling can tell such wonderful stories. Even in the late 80s, that era of pro wrestling. Even though it had a lot of silliness and foolishness and stuff like that, it too, but it wasn't, all the garbage that was in the ring, and you didn't have as many injuries as you have now in the ring. I mean, you had accidents, of course, and that's going to happen in pro wrestling because, it isn't ballet as what Jim Ross says. But it's more than garbage wrestling and celebrity and death matches. Yeah, celebrity death matches. So, anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this podcast and that we'll talk to you again next time. And remember to, just love pro wrestling for what it, was. And bye-bye.